And a very good evening and welcome to round 5 of the iMechie Formula Student Sim Racing Series, live from a virtual Goodwood this evening. We've got 2 races in store for you in vintage touring cars. It's going to be wall-to-wall action for the next couple of hours. I'm Giles Cosgrove. Joining me in the commentary box will be James Montgomery, and we are so excited after the drama of the racing we saw at the last event last month. It's all to play for here. We had cars running out of fuel on track. Could we see more drama here today? Quite possibly. So sit back, relax. We've got you covered for the coverage of this event and what is going to be some very, very exciting racing. Monty, you excited?
Oh, I'm very excited, Giles. Classic touring cars around Goodwood. We've seen it so many times on TV. It brings up some epic David and Goliath battles. Let's see how the universities get on tonight. These aren't professional drivers now, it's university students. So extra calamity, extra fun. But
exactly.
That's
we
how I'm
timed this
looking at
rather
it.
well because this weekend is the Goodwood members event. So they've got the classic touring cars going round, which is great because we've got this live. So we're bringing you some live racing, which won't be interrupted by protesters for 2 reasons. 1, it's virtual, and 2, we aren't emitting any nasty greenhouse gases, so no environmentalist can get upset. So problem solved. I'm really excited about this today because we've been watching the qualifying and it's been tight at the top, very tight at the top.
But yes, tight is an understatement for that one, Giles. I'm just looking through the results right now. It looks like it's the usual protagonist that we've come to expect at the top. But when we talk about tight, it's less than a tenth of a second really between the top 2. So and a lot of them have gone for similar cars. Yes, we've got the classic ones there. You've got your usual Mustangs, you've got your Toyotas, you've got a couple of Minis and MGBs and stuff like that thrown in for good measure as well. But over the course of the lap, some have the power, some have the cornering speed. They're all doing 1 minute 30s really tonight. So let's see what happens once we do this together for a 25-minute race instead.
Yes, indeed. And my man on the inside has been telling me that UGR are looking rapid. And am I allowed to say this? They have topped the timing board in qualifying again.
For the first and the second race.
Yes, indeed. Now, the vast majority of the field is made up of Ford Mustangs, but we've got a couple of Minis knocking about as well. And Mastermind MC Muxi over on the stream has said, can we periodically see what will be an epic, once-in-a-lifetime battle between the Minis at the back of the grid? We're very excited to say yes. We're definitely going to be getting in on that mini-on-mini action. We'll be bringing you that live very soon. Also, talking of comments on the stream, Anything Randomly Tate says, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to watch the stream, but could you please shout out my younger sisters Izzy and Phoebe, as it is their birthdays today, and they get embarrassed easily. Cheers. Well, shout outs to Izzy and Phoebe. Happy birthday to them. I'm aware that you can see us. I had some comments last event saying, you can tell you're a radio presenter, Giles. You sound great, but you look absolutely atrocious on the stream. So I've got a shirt on. I've got buttons and everything. So there we are. Dressed to impress.
There we are. Very nice, Giles. Very impressed with that. And I just see we've had another comment coming from Extreme Grape Z. Shame that Kingston was forced to drive the Minis. It is a shame. Alas, there's a deadline for submitting their car submissions, and they submitted it 17 hours late. So rules are rules. All the students have to follow them, I'm afraid, guys. So they've only had 2 weeks to submit their car choices. So respectfully, as your event captain, you're not going to get a lot of sympathy from me on that one tonight, I'm afraid, guys. Still, it should make for some good racing. And good luck, Kingston. I'm looking forward to see your best Mr. Bean impression in the Minis.
Now, you will get a little more sympathy from me. We were talking earlier. Monty graduated 8 years ago. I'm graduating this year, and it is currently deadline season. So we've got a bit of a reduced field, which I can understand. And teams that are late with submissions, personally, I do get it. But them's the rules. Anyway, let's go through and talk about where we are in the standings at the moment, shall we?
Yeah, that sounds like a good shout. Let me just go and grab that on screen. There we are. Very nice. So, hopefully everyone back home can see that on their screens now. So currently we have Three championship contenders right at the top. Glasgow, brand new to the series this year. They've certainly made their mark. The reigning champions in Formula Student. They've come to join the sim racing series this year, and they're continuing where they've left off, really. Look at them at the top there. Reigning champions Southampton, they're second, not far behind on 350 points. And the University of Bolton, who until last round were leading the championship for this whole season, they've dropped down to third after, by their standards, a poor race. There's 100 points available per round, guys, so actually it could still swap around again. We still got a few more rounds to go. And there's a drop score as well to consider as well. So once we throw that all into the mix, it's still up. It could be any one of those three, frankly, who could take the honours on it. They've kind of broken away from the rest of the field. You can see there, nice tight battle for the top four now between Wolverhampton, also new to the series this year, Wales Trinity St David in 5th, and University of Hull right behind them in 6th. UE, University of West England, they're in 7th. University of Strathclyde had their best race to date last time out. They've now gone up to 8th. We have the University of Stavanger, our Norwegian counterpart, in 9th. And the University of Salford in 10th. Heads up for Salford, guys. So they were the runners-up last season. Now, to date, they have only had one driver in their team, which has meant that per the penalties, they've only been able to score half points in the second race for each round. It really has handicapped them. They're now a two-driver team as of today. Hooray! So I'm really looking forward to see how many points they can claw back, because they were fast last year. They still have the same drivers on board, and I'm glad to see now that they've got a full team. So keep an eye out for Salford, guys. And also for the University of Cambridge, who actually aren't even in the top 20 at the moment. If you go into our bottom bit, you'll see Cambridge down there in 24th. They are Team 4 because they came 4th last season. They finally got a full suite of drivers again. They are back tonight, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they can get on, because typically they're normally at the sharp end of the grid as well, Giles.
We'll be very interested to see the results of today's race. We should probably recap and talk about the drama that occurred last week. Well, when I say last week, it does feel like a week ago. It was a month ago, actually. But we'll talk about that because it was some of the most dramatic racing we'd seen in the entire Formula Student Sim Racing series this year. It was stunning to the point that my mic cut out because I got too excited come that last lap drama when Glasgow shockingly ran out of fuel on the last lap of the first race. It was absolute carnage.
It was, I don't think any of us were expecting that. I thought they had it wrapped up.
I said as much. I cursed it with the commentator's curse. I said they've got this in the bag, and all of a sudden we just look on the timing board on the left hand of the screen, and Glasgow are just tumbling away down the positions, and we're thinking, what on earth has happened? Have they gone off? And then we look in the pit lane, and they'd misjudged how much fuel to have on board by one lap, and it just completely changed the running order, and it was absolutely mad to see.
Absolutely, and the second race wasn't much calmer either, because it was my turn to offer the commentator's curse after singing the praises of Southampton and how they had been consistently in the top 5 for every single race so far to that date, and that's how they were getting all the points in. They got nerfed off on the first lap, and so we got to witness a wonderful recovery drive from them, from almost a lap behind, having to go into the pits for repairs and coming back up for a top 10 finish. It really was a spectacle to behold, wasn't it?
It was indeed. It's all to play for here at Goodwood then, as the event begins to hot up. We're heading towards the final in July, and I've had words with drivers at the moment, and these cars are not easy. They're not easy. Bear in mind, most of them are Mustangs. They're designed to go in a straight line. They're not particularly well adapted for going round corners, as with American cars. So as a result, you're going to see a lot of slipping and sliding. Monty, you like to use the word wallowy, don't you?
Yes, I like to say that the cars wallow about, because there's just... It's like looking at a boat. They try and turn, but they still kind of keep on going straight. They're just so softly sprung. And then eventually they begin to turn, and then you apply the power, and then they oversteer out the corner. It's as if you're driving on ice or on a really wet track with slick tyres. It's going to be all about patience here. We've seen quite a few drivers over one lap do some stonking times, but trying to and I use the word correctly here, wrestle these cars for 25 minutes in each of these races tonight, I think we're going to see a lot of unforced errors, not necessarily even from battling, just because a lapse of concentration, and we're going to see some of the cars just coming out of the corner backwards.
Indeed we are. So bear in mind, the initial start of Goodwood isn't particularly strenuous. It's a nice long straight off the line, then towards a sweeping right-hander that just pretty much carries on and on until you get to a chicane. But this chicane is really tight. I was watching the qualifying earlier, and that chicane is so tight that really you can only get one car through it. So when you've got the cars bunched up together on that first lap, someone's going to have to give, someone's going to have to come off and let others through, or you're going to have two cars in the space where only one can go. It's going to be really exciting to see.
Yep. I'm looking...
You can see the free practice right now on your screens, I believe.
They can hear it. They'll be able to see it in just a second. So, yeah, we're just giving you guys a little tease. And now we swap over. There you are, guys. You've got some live pictures of the warm-up. So we've got a couple minutes to go before the first race is formed. And look at those glorious Mustangs all out together there. This looks wonderful.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. So, we're in round 5 of the Formula Student Sim Racing Series 2022-2023. Glasgow topping the leaderboard at the moment. All to play for in round 5. You can see the cars getting a bit slippy and sliding through the corners already. This is a taste of what's to come. We're at lights out. But we're headed towards a final, and we're rather excited about the final, aren't we, James?
I'm very excited about the final, and I think every single driver I've spoken to so far are also very excited about the final, because it's going to be a live special show this year, guys. We're going to make it a full 8-hour program with heat, final knockout stages, and we are very blessed to be hosting the whole thing in conjunction with the Formula Students event, but not at Silverstone. We're actually going to be going...
No.
We're going to a very special venue, and we're very pleased to have announced to the drivers this week that for the final round of the season, we're going to be doing all the contests live from Williams' F1 factory, as they now have a fully dedicated esports centre there. More details to come in the next couple of rounds, guys, but I'm really looking forward to this one. Giles, you going to be there?
I'm going to be there. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. That'll be taking place on the Friday of the Formula Students UK event. So we'll be having the final of the Sim Racing Series, hosted by the Williams Formula 1 team at their factory, and you can watch all the action unfolding live throughout the day, kind of as a warm-up for the real event at Silverstone is taking place later in the year in July, the week after the British Grand Prix.
Yes, absolutely. It's
remember, you can book your tickets for that as well.
You can. Make sure you do it, guys. There's nothing more entertaining than watching 80 cars designed by students competing it on Silverstone. These are your future F1 engineers. Honestly, it's amazing what they can build.
This was what I was talking about at the event last year when I was in the commentary box with Andrew, is that you may not necessarily be seeing the next Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen driving, but what you're definitely going to be seeing in the teams. You don't know who it's going to be. He or she is right there, though, is the next Adrian Newey. They will come through Formula Student. That's how it happens, and we are really excited for the competition this year. You can book your tickets, and it's a lot cheaper than a lot of the racing that takes place at Silverstone. Far cheaper than the Formula 1, and you get to walk around the paddock, talk to the drivers, meet the teams, look at the cars. It's a really great weekend, so we cannot recommend it enough.
Be there or be square, I think is the old saying, Giles, but...
I believe it is.
Absolutely. No, guys, I hope you really enjoy it, because it's a stonking competition to watch. You're looking at the future engineers, not just in F1 and motorsport, but in the automotive industry. Some go off into the aviation industry, mechanical engineering. There are some big brains in this competition here, and well over 80 universities taking part as well. And this challenge, which we're watching tonight, the Sim Racing Series, this is part of that competition. It's all for the students, for them to get some good experience out of this. Yes, it's great for them to get the mechanical engineering aspects of it with building an actual car. Whereas we see more and more industries turning towards simulations, data, that kind of stuff as part of their work now. They don't really do physical testing. It's all about the simulator data now, understanding car behavior that way. So we're giving the students a unique opportunity here to not only get to drive these cars really quick, but throw some engineering challenges to them in between these rounds as well, which they're being awarded additional bonus points for as well. We're going to talk more about this in the next couple of rounds as well, but don't worry, these students are being kept busy, not just with driving these cars quick tonight, but in between the rounds, they're being challenged on how to set up these cars, how to get the most out of them, and we want to make sure that anyone who graduates and gets a job in F1 afterwards, they're going to put the previous generation to shame.
So, we're moments away from lights out here at Goodwood. Vintage touring cars, round 5 of the IMECI Formula Student Sim Racing Series. Very excited to see what is in store for you. On board at the moment, you can see the cars waiting there in the pit lane. UGR have qualified in pole. I'm excited about Stavanger, though, because they're driving a Toyota, which actually... not Stavanger, Lasonde. Lasonde are in a Toyota that was featured as the Bond car in You Only Live Twice. So it's great to see a Bond car featuring in this series.
I'll tell you who else I'm looking forward to see. Bolton, one of our championship protagonists. Everyone, as you'll see here, guys, most people have gone for the Mustang. They're playing it safe. They want the power. Bolton have gone for the Toyota as well. So they're trying something a little bit different to the others. Keep an eye on them. It'll be interesting to see if they can make this one pay off, because Glasgow and Southampton are both in the Ford Mustangs. There's a couple of teams as well running Jokers. For example, Staffordshire, number 17, they're in an MGB, by far the lightest car, and they've applied their Joker as well, so the lightest car has got even lighter. Again, we're playing up to the David and Goliath situation here, Giles, so good strategies.
We are indeed.
Good strategies.
Indeed. We were seeing earlier, though, the Mini did seem to be able to keep up with the Mustang earlier on, which is very interesting. Meanwhile, we're on board with... Well, who are we going to be on board with? Let's find out. Choose a car.
So, we're just looking at our TV car here, so we've had to warn all the drivers, because as we know with the Goodwood chicane, it's a polystyrene wall, and some people have been not bothering to take the chicane too seriously. So this Jaguar is going to be parked up at the last chicane for the race to make sure that no one's going to try straight lining that chicane. So keep an eye out for the Jag. We're going to see it making a few cameo appearances throughout tonight, Giles.
It's giving me Inspector Morse. Shall we go through the grid then, James?
Absolutely. Let's head to the front. So it's a 3x2x3 grid here, guys. But as you can see at the very front, we have Glasgow taking pole position, Cardiff in second, and Southampton in third. Salford, welcome back, guys. Nice to see you back. And what an impact straight away there in fourth position on the grid, with Bolton fifth. Sheffield Hallam in 6th, and then we've got Vitoria in 7th, Wolverhampton in 8th.
Wolverhampton.
Yep, correct. Wolverhampton in 8th, Hull in 9th, and Cambridge also making it into the top 10 on their return. So it's great to see some of the old names from last year returning now that their exam season has quietened down. Moving further back into the midfield there, so we have Stavanger. I can never pronounce their name correct, and I know my dad's going to be watching this and going to be killing me afterwards, because we both continually, both as in you and I, Giles, keep mispronouncing it, so
yeah.
Sorry, Dad. And then University of Wales Trinity St David in 12th. Aberdeen, good, glad to see they're back in for another round after an impressive run last time out. They're in 13th. University of Portsmouth, interesting this one. The main team are not in, but this is their alumni team. They raced last year, they've all graduated, but the alumni students are here tonight in 14th. Strathclyde, after their best rounds last time out, they're only 15th at the moment. Napier in Edinburgh, 16th. Lasonde, our Canadian counterparts, in 17th. UCL in 18th, Ilomanu in 19th, Staffordshire down in 20th with the lightest car of all. Be interesting to see what happens over the next 25 minutes. UE in 21st, the other York, the proper York, in 22nd, Kingston in 23rd, and Oxford rounding out the back in the Little Mini in 24th. Hitting the hooter. Hello, guys. We can hear you. We can hear you.
they've got the Hesketh teddy bear on the back. I am loving that from Oxford. Absolutely fantastic throwback. Beautiful livery there.
Beautiful livery there. Really loving that. So we've got about 60 seconds left on the countdown, guys, just before the lights come up. You can see that Mark II Jaguar in the back there. They will be disappearing and going off to do some Inspector Morse duties throughout the race, as I say, so don't worry about that one. But hopefully
Inspector Morose over there.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently someone's microphone sounds a little bit crackly. We're going to try adjusting that. Thank you for the heads up, guys. Apart from the crackling, how is the sound balance between us and the game sounds? Can you still hear us all okay?
Yes. Can you hear us? Are we all good?
Hopefully it's all coming through okay for you guys. But do let us know if you need us to tweak any of the volumes. We've got about 30 seconds before the first race goes ahead. And I've just gone and hit the wrong button. You don't want to see our faces either, guys. So let's go back to the races. Perfect. There we are. Lovely. And the lights have come on, Giles. I'll move the camera back to the
Here
front.
we go then. We're about to go racing at Goodwood. It's vintage touring cars. The lights are on. Who's going to do the best out of the line? Off we go then. Lights out, away we go. Off the line, a slow start from the front runners. And that's carnage immediately off the line. Bolton trying to get ahead, but Cardiff have got the jump on Glasgow, but Glasgow got the inside line. Not a lot of room there for these cars as Cardiff and Glasgow go two abreast through the starts. Behind them, Staffordshire trying to get through, and there's carnage immediately in the back. It's all gone to Pete Tong. Cardiff have got into the lead, followed by Staffordshire. Glasgow down in third, Salford in fourth, UWR, University of Wolverhampton in fifth, Bolton in sixth, seventh is Victoria, eighth is Sheffield Hallam.
And that's Cardiff off right at the front there.
Cardiff lose it. Cardiff goes sideways.
Oh, here we go again.
Cardiff goes sideways. That's absolute carnage.
Oh, no. No. More crashes. Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, here, I wasn't expecting this on the first lap, but absolute carnage there. That's Staffordshire going straight into the pile up there. Even more at the back now. Oh.
This is giving me Smokey and the Bandit. This really is. Bear in mind, these cars are particularly difficult to handle. The oversteer is dramatic on them. There's a lot of power, but not a lot of handling on these Mustangs. And then the track at Goodwood is really tight, as we've seen throughout. But the team that have made it work the best are Staffordshire, who are in first.
No,
Cardiff
it's
in
Southampton,
second.
beg your pardon. Southampton in first.
I'm so sorry. I keep making that mistake, and I can only apologise. But
Southampton in first. We've got Cardiff in second, Glasgow in third, Victoria fourth, and Bolton in fifth. Somehow making it through all the carnage. But look at that, 30 seconds across the field after just one lap.
Absolute carnage from the outset then. It was predicted, it did happen. Bolton in sixth there. Trying to make a move on Hull, but Hull are having none of it. The little bit of a toe punt into the back of Hull from Bolton, that looks like to me. Going through that right-hander, can't quite get close enough to dive down the inside there. Behind them, it's Tau. Up ahead, Southampton then. They've got it in first. Cardiff, almost a second behind already. UGR, they qualified in pole. They're back down in third. On board now with Bolton as they try and make a move around the outside of Hull. That's not going to be the way to do it. Maybe down the inside it is. Look at this. A great view. You can see the rear end of Hull getting very close to the front of Bolton then. Can Bolton in the Toyota get past the Mustang of Hull is the question. That gap is really, really close, but not enough to make a move then.
So we've got a good question already in the stream. How many cars will actually finish each lap? Do you want to put some wagers on, Giles?
I'd rather not. I'm not a betting man, but you know what I'd really like to bet on? Cardiff, with Aaron Farmer behind the wheel, have got up into first.
Side by side over the line. Here we go.
Grass going across the line. Southampton back up in first. Cardiff all over their chuff. This is great racing as they go down towards the first corner. In goes Southampton, followed by Cardiff. There's a 1.5 seconds behind between Cardiff and Glasgow. Could this be a three-way battle for first? Possibly. Looking a little bit wavy. Through there goes Southampton. Cardiff piling on the pressure. A 0.3 of a second gap between the two front runners. This is exciting stuff. The power then seems to have been the way to go. You can see on your screens, unless you're in the Toyota, it's just Mustang after Mustang after Mustang. The Minis, as predicted, well down the back there. Cardiff looking fantastic there, getting the inside line, but it's not enough. The Southampton get away.
No, Southampton's just
fallen
falling
off. And they've gone
off.
off. Southampton have dropped away, and they've dropped off so badly that they're side by side with Glasgow as Cardiff go into the lead. With 2 laps off.
Fantastic. Cardiff in first, Glasgow second, Southampton down to third. But look, there's still 20 minutes to go. So look at all these errors after just 2 laps. This is what I mean. These cars are so unforgiving. It's causing so many unforced errors, and I don't think we've seen the end of it. Cardiff, however, have to make it count, though. They have to make it count in this race because they're on a 1-driver entry tonight, guys. So that means they're limited to half points and starting from the back of the grid in the second race. So Aaron Farmer really has to get his finger out and maximise his points in this first race.
Leading by a second then, you can see the 4 front runners on your screen. Cardiff, followed by Glasgow, followed by Southampton, and then Victoria in 4th. Side by side, Southampton and Glasgow. Glasgow just have the edge on it as they pile on down towards the first corner. Through the right-hander they go as Glasgow managed to hold on to second place. They'll be determined to make up for that poor start that they had, where they lost out on the pole position they so adamantly qualified with. Cardiff have opened that gap up to 1 second and a tenth on that as well. So 1.1 seconds ahead are Cardiff, with Glasgow just holding off Southampton, who for a while were leading until they ended up on the grass. Victoria closing in on Southampton. In the back of your screens there, the red Mustang. Oh, looking very squirrely through there, where Southampton just managed to hold on to it. That is going to cost them, and Glasgow are going to open that gap up between themselves and the third place car as they hunt down Cardiff in the black and red Mustang.
Now here's the
Bolton,
other championship
meanwhile,
protagonist.
trying to get past Hull. Can they manage that in the Toyota? Looking down the inside there. This is the best opportunity they've had so far in the race. Side by side through there they go, but not quite for Hull and Bolton. This is Bolton trying to get past Hull for 5th place. They are one of the championship protagonists, as James has been saying, but they've made a different decision to the vast majority of the field. They've chosen the Toyota, as featured in You Only Live Twice. Meanwhile, in the Mustang, as featured in Diamonds Are Forever, you've got Hull, who are managing to hold off just because they can get away on the straights. But I do think, going through the chicane there, you can see this, the Mustang is rolling more than the Toyota. The Toyota handles better. It just doesn't have that big American power that the Mustang has.
Yes, it needs probably about an extra 50 horsepower to be able to get past them on the straight, or even keep up with them on the slipstream there. So it's a very frustrating situation here because evidently that Toyota's much faster around the corners. In the practice server, it was in theory the fastest car, but down on power, if you can't get past the car in front of you, even if it's slower than you over the whole lap, you're just stuck behind it because you can't do anything. What they need is for Hull to make an unforced error, sneak it up the inside and get about half a second in front of them, because even as we saw in the last lap, even when they exit the corner side by side, the Mustang just pulls away again.
Exactly, but I think Bolton are doing exactly what you said, James. They're piling on the pressure onto Hull.
Here we
Hull's
go.
rear wing. Oh, trying to make a move down the inside. They tried this earlier. Can they make this work? Yes, again. Mustang pulling away from Toyota as Hull managed to hold on to 5th position, but the rear mirror. Oh, hang on. Off there is the University of Southampton. There's Southampton.
Nope, that's Strathclyde. That's further down the field there, it looks like. So Strathclyde have fallen from 12th to 14th. They're back on the track, but yeah, they've lost about 5 seconds to that gag of cars in front of them, where we've got Ilomanu, Portsmouth alumni, and Cambridge having a nice little battle.
Mustang after Mustang around Goodwood then. Classic touring cars for the 5th round of the IMECI Formula Student Sim Racing Series. 5 laps in, 17 minutes to go. Aaron Farmer leading for Cardiff as TUI go a little bit squirrely through there, and off they go. This track is harder than it looks. Through this really tight chicane where the cars really do have to get in single file. That is when that's when you've got to kind of play chicken with the driver you're trying to overtake. Who's going to get into the chicane first and who's going to back off first is the question then. This track is not particularly forgiving. It looks flat, it looks calm, but with these cars, the way they're set up, they're great for drag races on the straights of San Francisco or a car chase in a certain film called Bullet. But having said that, around the corner, they're not particularly great. On board then with Victoria, who are up into 5th. They've got past, third I should say, they've got past Southampton. When did this occur? We've missed that, haven't we?
We have. So I saw Southampton just drop down the timing, so I suspect Southampton may have fallen off the track again because they've lost 2 seconds straight away, and now they've fallen into the clutches of Hull and Bolton. Not a good race so far for Southampton by their usual high standards, but
Indeed, championship winners last year in the Blue Mustang, having a rather tough evening here at Goodwood. As you can see there, the tail stepping out, the oversteer on these Mustangs is just dramatic.
Ooh!
Oh, look at this. Meanwhile, Oxford University having a bit of a play about with York. They've got past York as they go off onto the grass, and the Hesketh Mini of Oxford University tearing away. South Preservation Society playing in my eardrums and go through another Mini. The other Mini of Kingston get past York, who are getting swamped by the little Davids. The Davids are beating the Goliath, but the Goliath having none of it, coming back with the massive power through the straights. This is great to see, and this is what we're talking about. The handling on some of these cars with less power is brilliant. You can hear the horn just going off there. These Minis are gutted about this because they can handle it through the corners, but when it comes to the straights, you put your foot down and the Mustangs are just off like a bat out of hell.
This is hilarious to see, but this is kind of the classic touring car stuff which we enjoy to watch around Goodwood. Go on, guys, give it a good hooning. Lovely. And that's the Monte Carlo rally on that Mini there, so glad to see some good tidy racing going in the back. See a few position swaps in the middle here. Who have we got? We've got Portsmouth and Napier now going side by side.
Portsmouth and Napier then battling out for 14th position. As Napier close in on Portsmouth. Getting through the left-hander, there they go. You can see the cars just roll, and then the oversteer is horrendous.
Absolutely.
I would not want to be driving one of these.
That was a perfect visual representation of what I mean when I use the word wallowing. You saw the whole car just kind of roll, and it didn't really do anything. And look, he's hitting the power, and he's got nothing but oversteer. It's just an absolute beast to manhandle these things, aren't they, Giles?
These Mustangs have the equivalent handling capability of the Titanic, as far as I'm concerned. And it is no mean feat to be able to keep them in the track boundaries. Aaron Farmer leading 7 laps in, 14 minutes to go. There is Salford trying to get past Bolton then. They're probably going to manage it just because they've got that bit more power, but
not on the grass, they're not.
Bolton are letting them go through. Bolton defending wildly here. Fantastic stuff from the University of Bolton as Salford attempt to get past, but Salford looking very, very slidey in the rear of Bolton then.
Very firm defending from Bolton there. That was impressive to watch.
They've got it planted. They're just taking it to the edge of the track limits, keeping it there, tempting, inviting the cars behind to do the same. But the difference is the Toyota can handle the edge of the track limits. If you take it to the edge in the Mustang, you're going to be off immediately. Fantastic stuff from Bolton then as they open the gap up between them and Salford in the Burgundy Mustang. You're on board with Salford now, closing in on Bolton. Bolton managing to hold off the Salford car. And this is where Salford are going to be able to make it up on the straights. And then here comes a corner. Oh! Oh, Bolton getting a bit slidey. Their tail getting out there. That's the most Mustang-like behaviour we've seen from the Toyota all race. Going through this tight chicane then.
I think we're beginning to see tyres starting to overheat now, Giles. If we're seeing slideways moments like that, I think that's a sign of tyres getting a little bit too warm now.
They have been put through their paces. It's been flat out all the way, closing in on Bolton, our Salford, trying to find a way round. It's the corners where Bolton can make up the time, because on the straights, as you're about to see, it's going to get very, very close as the driver from Salford puts their foot right into the floor.
Here we go.
This slightly sweeping right-hander. They're closing in. They're going round the outside. Bolton defending hard right through the right-hander. They've just managed to stay ahead.
You can see the cornering speed of the Toyota straight away, pulling away once more. That Mustang, it was like watching a fishing rod, wasn't it? Just pulling on the line and just reeling them in on the straight. And then off they go again in the corners.
As we're seeing right now. This could go on for quite a while.
I think we'll keep a close eye on the timing.
Desperately waiting for Bolton to make a mistake, but Bolton are having none of it.
Absolutely none of it at all. This is some fantastic, robust defending from Bolton. They definitely don't want to lose any more ground to Southampton and Glasgow in this championship.
Like side by side, and that looks like to me like Salford have gone through, but Bolton have said no, thank you very much, sir. They've got through on the right, and that's fantastic. Inside, Salford were up, they lost it. Bolton down the inside, and Salford onto the grass, and they're going to have to make it up all over again as they go through the chicane at Goodwood. brilliant driving from Bolton.
Holding on to that 6th place like it's a championship win for them, and with how close it is in the top 3, every single point's going to count, Giles, so I don't blame them for being that robust. We'll keep an eye on the timings, see what happens there. I'm just looking through the rest of the timings just to see if we've got any other battles going on at the moment. Let's go and have a look at Staffordshire and their little MG. How are they getting on, guys? 18. Look at that. Oh, it's a nice sounding
almost
car.
A minute behind the leaders, but it does sound rather pleasant. Some at Cardiff Racing are big MG fans.
Well, there we go. We're
lagging behind there in 18th. A little bit squirrely through there. The livery's just changed out of nowhere.
It has. Good job. Internet. Don't know what's going on there.
1 minute. I've got no idea. But there we go.
I think we're going to stop looking at them. My computer's obviously not enjoying looking at their car, so let's go move to the very back of the field because we have York off the track again with Uwe just in front of them, but they're 1 minute 22 behind the leaders who are just there in the back of your picture, guys. So Cardiff and Glasgow battling for the lead. Coming up to traffic.
This could get very, very interesting. York struggling with the raw power of the Mustang back in 24th position. And you can see just in the back of your screens there, here comes Cardiff and Glasgow. There's a gap of approximately 1.5 seconds or so between the two front runners. They're going to be piling on down towards York very soon as York try and reel in Uwe. Big shout out to Uwe. They're doing a great job on their social media. The social media looks gorgeous, especially in the promotion of their results with the sim racing. So shout out to the Uwe social media team. Meanwhile, York trying to get past Uwe. Uwe in the Toyota is better through the corners as we've established. It just doesn't have the raw power of the Mustang, but that raw power seems to be a bit of a problem for York as they're back down in 24th position following the carnage of the opening lap. Who knows why they're down there? That could have been a reason. But York trying to close in Uwe as Cardiff begin to close the gap themselves to the last car on the grid in 24th. And you can see Cardiff just appear on your screens there, followed by Glasgow in the orange. There's a 6-second gap between the first car and the third car, so it really is between Cardiff and Glasgow as they try and approach the traffic at the rear of the grid. Bit of puff of tyre smoke from the Oxford University Mini. Now, do bear in mind, Cardiff are only running one driver this weekend, so therefore there will be a penalty for that. They've got to get those points. Meanwhile, Salford and Hull again. We're back with our old favourites up here. Salford side by side with Bolton. Bolton, it's yet again the exact same place it happened. Salford get it into there, and then through the right-hander, they just cannot stick it. Through the chicane they're going.
Clean exit, Bolton. That's all he needs.
Bolton hanging on for dear life. Salford have worked out where to make the pass. And as James is saying, it's all about a clear exit. A clean, tight exit is needed for Salford through that corner in order to get past the Toyota of Bolton. We've seen they've got the power to make it work. They just need to make it stick. Keep it tidy, keep it neat, keep it precise and clean.
This may work this time, Giles. This may work this time. He's much closer.
This could be interesting. Yeah. All over the rear end, going out round the outside now. This is the unusual approach.
And there's a crash up ahead.
Power down.
Oh! No, had to back out of that one, going straight into a yellow flag zone. What a shame that was Salford's best chance of an overtake yet.
Absolutely gutting. It looks to me like York and Uwe had a coming together. York got past Uwe. Uwe now
still on the grass.
And by the looks of things, could they be a DNF? They're struggling to get back on track. They've got on track. Uwe back on track then. Having had a coming together with York, they've been swamped by the cars further up the grid, and they're just going to try and keep themselves out of the way. And all that bunch up, that has caused the gap between Cardiff and Glasgow to drop significantly. It is now just over half a second. Drama in the mid towards the end of this race then. The coming together of Uwe and York has caused the front runners to really bunch up. Glasgow will be over the moon with this. They qualified in pole. They're down in second. The gap approaching a second now as Cardiff again begin to pull away. Aaron Farmer seeming to have mastered the Mustang, but that said, every time we talk about a car in the commentary box, it all goes Pete-tong for them, so I'm going to zip my mouth. But the car there is from... That's Kingston being overtaken by Cardiff. Glasgow will have to do the same. There are no blue flags in this series, but seemingly a lot of the drivers are showing a great deal of, well, manners and just getting out of the way.
Fair play to them for doing that with such a pace difference for some of these cars tonight, so I'm glad to see that the driving etiquette has been spot on so far tonight. It is a fun series after all, and I keep on stressing this to the drivers in the drivers' briefing, so this is what hopefully stops protests from coming in and me having to have long evenings checking every single incident after a race.
So that's the difference between you and me, James. You have to do all of that and I go and have my dinner.
It's a hard life, isn't it, Giles?
Oh, bless your heart, mate. Anyway, up in the lead, it's Cardiff. 1.5 seconds between them and Glasgow in second. Fair bit of tyre smoke coming off the back then of Kingston, who are being lapped by the front runners. Cardiff had to make it work because they've got one driver this weekend, so they will get a points penalty for that.
Oh no,
Bolton
are off!
Meanwhile, all over the place is Bolton. Gutting for the Northerners. They've been having a fantastic race in the Toyota. We've been finding them thoroughly entertaining, and Hull and Salford have got past Bolton as a result of that off. Was that an unforced error, or was there a coming together, is the question.
We'll find out after the race. We'll definitely find out in the post-drivers briefing because we hear it all then. Unfortunately, we don't have a replay feature here because I would love to see what happened there. Bolton been doing a stonking job with their defending so far in this. Alas, they got some clear air though, so it will be interesting now to see how quick this Toyota can go now that it's not stuck behind a Mustang.
Indeed. The question though is, can they reel in Salford?
Well, they have no choice. They have to. They need the points to stay in contact with Southampton and Glasgow at the front of the championship. They need to make it work.
They can make it work through the corners. They just lack that power on the straights. Bolton there in 7th, Salford in 6th, Hull in 5th, Southampton in 4th, Victoria in 3rd, University of Glasgow in 2nd, and Cardiff in 1st. On board then with University College London up ahead, Oxford University. They're being lapped. Hang on, we are on board with UCL, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. This is UCL. Looks like they've just come back on the track, so it looks like they've had a little moment somewhere, but they're getting back up to speed now. But I think they would have been hoping for a bit more than 22nd from tonight. They had a good run last time out, top 10 finishes, so they were another team that were building up some momentum, so at least they got a second chance of it later on.
Oh, this is one of the advantages.
Oh, not like that, they're not like that, they're not.
That's an interesting approach to going through a chicane, going sideways across the track.
No.
Oh, that looks to me like a rather sad state of affairs for the University of College London, down to 23rd in the white Mustang, just completely lost it through the chicane. It reminds us as we head towards the tail end of this race, these cars really are difficult to handle. We've seen the drivers settle into a groove, some of them more quickly than others, but don't forget, as you can see there, going well off into the grass.
I feel sorry for UCL. I think we've got to turn away from them, otherwise I'm going to have their team leader giving me an absolute telling off afterwards for showing all of that. But they've at least got the second race to go, and I hope that race goes much, much better for them. Good luck, guys.
Victoria have settled into a groove. They've got clean tarmac in front of them, 9 seconds to the leaders Cardiff. Behind them, there's a good old gap of 4 seconds between them and Southampton. So even if they're getting a bit squirrely through there, letting the tail slide out a bit, there's not much pressure on Victoria, who've done a really cracking job to get onto the podium out of the line, going nicely through the chicane. That's how you do the chicane at Goodwood in a Mustang. Very nicely done there, taking advantage of that roll, rolling it through the corners, sliding it just a little bit. Fantastic stuff from Victoria, who I would imagine will be very happy with this podium finish. They seem to be on track for, at the moment, 1 minute 50 or so left of this race. Cardiff in the lead, 1.5 seconds between them and Glasgow in second. You're on board with Victoria in third, Southampton in fourth, and the top 5 are rounded out with Hull in 5th.
It's all there. Almost scared to say this, Giles, but it's almost settled down now. Everyone's kind of got like a 2-second buffer to each other. I think they're just trying to nurse it back home now because these cars are just so slidey. The tyres are knackered, they've overheated, and just as I say that, Wolverhampton are having a nice battle with UWTSD. This is for 8th.
Here we go then. University of Wolverhampton and University of Wales Trinity St David. Wolverhampton up into 8th. Trinity St David all over their chuff at the rear, but immediately Wolverhampton pulling away from the Welsh team.
Nice clean overtake there for 8th position. Wolverhampton raking in those points again. They've had a great start to the season so far. They're missing that little something which the top 3 have, which for their first attempt at the series, no one's going to hold that against them. 4th position at their first ever attempt at this series is a great effort from Wolverhampton, and they've certainly put in the effort as well, haven't they?
Yeah, they have indeed. Trinity St David are putting in the effort to keep up with Wolverhampton right now. Their elbows are out. They just can't seem to close that gap enough to make a pass. But fantastic stuff from Trinity St David to try and keep up with the Wolverhampton car. Bright yellow, you can't miss it. And I can imagine that the Wolverhampton team will be rather pleased about getting up into 8th. Through the chicane they go. Can they keep it tidy? Yes, they can. But, oh, was that a bit of contact?
Oh, there was a little bit of a tap with the wall there, I believe.
Bit of contact then, not quite as clean as they would have liked it through the chicane, as Trinity St David close in then on Wolverhampton for 8th.
No, unforced Sarah, that's the only way they're going to lose this one now. Wolverhampton's side seem to be a little bit handier. They're just getting out the corners cleaner. They're entering it cleaner. I think a UWTSD may have pushed a little bit too hard on their tyres at the beginning. Final battle here with Napier falling off just before we head back to Cardiff, who are coming around the last few corners. Definitely all going on for the last lap now, Giles.
It really is. Everyone's realised that it's now make or break. They got their elbows out, but one car that doesn't have to have their elbows out is Cardiff, driven by Aaron Farmer, a lead of 1.5 seconds. They got through on the opening of the first lap. They've got the chicane to go. Can they hold it? Come on. Here we go then. Aaron Farmer for Cardiff. There it is. Across the line, Cardiff University, Cardiff Racing. Aaron Farmer takes the checkered flag for Cardiff, and that is just brilliant. Straight into the wall. Who cares at this point? He's made it work. University of Glasgow in 2nd. Victoria across the line in 3rd. Southampton in 4th. Hull in 5th. 6th is Salford. Bolton are in 7th. A great drive from Bolton there. As they go across the line, a real hats off to Bolton in the Toyota. That's been some really entertaining, excellent driving. Wolverhampton crossed the line in 8th, having made up that position, as we just saw on University Wales. Trinity St David, they crossed the line in 9th. Cambridge across in 10th. I think that was where they qualified.
It was. Double top 10 finish for them. So, top 10 start, top 10 finish. Welcome back, Cambridge. Good
nice
to have you back.
Consistent from Cambridge.
Aberdeen
across
in 11th. Strathclyde 12th. We've got Sheffield Hallam in 13th. Ilomanu going past cars going the wrong side of the wall there. That's not the way to the finish, guys. But here comes Ilomanu in 14th. Stavanger, sorry, Dad, in 15th. Napier in 16th, and Portsmouth. Oh, that was a run to the line there. Napier just holding on to 16th from Portsmouth Alumni in 17th. Staffordshire doing donuts there in 18th. They're already a lap behind. There goes someone doing some donuts of their own. Lasson's 19th, Kingston 20th, York in 21st, UCL 22nd, UE in 23rd, and Oxford rounding us out in 24th position. Good grief, Giles, that was fun.
That was breathtaking from start to finish. The carnage in the opening lap, akin to those 70s driving movies, Convoy, Smokey and the Bandit, especially with the Mustangs. And then things began to settle down as the drivers got to grips with their cars. These are difficult cars, I should say, to handle. The Minis have got a great deal of handleability. They like little go-karts. We just don't have the power. The Toyota's much the same way. More power than the Mini, but not enough to match the Mustangs on the straights then. So a really interesting field, because remember, the Mustang's got the power, but it does not have the handling. But one driver who managed to make it work very well was Aaron Farmer from Cardiff, who had a lead of just under 1.5 seconds across the line, beating out event leaders Glasgow. Glasgow topping the tables at the moment for the entire event. But Cardiff managed to get through on that first lap. Southampton we're up there, and then they weren't. But it was absolutely spellbinding from start to finish. Some really great racing from everyone. Big shout out to Bolton, who did really, really well. So all around a fantastic race, and we'll go racing again very shortly.
Absolutely. Give us a couple of minutes, guys. We're going to go and load up the server for the second race. Go and grab a cup of tea. We're going to be live streaming a second race, and we're going to do it all over again in 5 minutes' time. See you shortly.
And welcome back to round 5 of the iMechie Formula Student Sim Racing Series. I'm Giles Cosgrove, he's James Montgomery. We've just come back from one race live from the virtual tarmac of Goodwood with vintage touring cars, and it was wall-to-wall action from lights out. The checkered flag was taken by Cardiff Racing, driven by Aaron Farmer, followed by University of Glasgow, the current championship leaders. Let's go through some of your comments on the live stream. Lacan Dragon says, petition for Glasgow to show up with a Brawn GP livery in honour of showing up and smashing the competition in their first year, which is a fair enough shout. It's exactly what Brawn did back in 2009. I've still got my Brawn t-shirt from 2009. I was 9 years old, and I remember that season very fondly. It might even be my favourite Formula 1 season of my lifetime. Bear in mind, I wasn't around for the 76 one, which is a classic. A lot of support in the comments for UGR. Noah Bateman and Little Sayonara both supporting UGR in the comments. We've also got to give a big shout out to Albert Hare. He says, "You're sounding good watching live from Qatar." Hello in Qatar. Can you believe that, James? We're live in Qatar.
That's fantastic to see. I love Qatar. Well, the country. I don't like Qatar, the stuff that you cough out, but the country itself, Qatar, is a wonderful place. Love to go there one day.
I've got a flatmate who lived there for a fair old while. It's hot. It's all I can gather. Elsewhere, Andrew Jakes just wanted to confirm, are you streaming the second race again this round? Yes, we are very much looking forward to this. Cardiff, our race winners in race 1 will be starting from the back of the grid because they've only got one driver this weekend, Aaron Farmer. We'll be catching up with him later. We'll also be interviewing the winners of the second race, so stick around to find out who that is. You're just coming to an end for free practice here for the second race at Goodwood. The vast majority of the field made up from Ford Mustangs. Also in the mix, we've got some Toyotas. You might recognise it from You Only Live Twice. We've got one MG and a couple of Minis as well.
It's going to be great fun to see this mix of cars again. Just to let you know though, guys, so as Giles says, we've got Cardiff starting at the back of the grid for the second race, one driver penalty. They're not the only team, has to be said. We've got 6 cars who are doing one drive entries here. Sorry, 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... No, 8. I can't count. Sorry about that. We have 8 teams who will be starting at the back of the grid for the second race and limited to half points for this second race of the night. They are UE, West of England. We have Basque. They'll be starting. Probably should have given more of a shout out to them as well. Fair play for maximising their third position, as well as Cardiff in first, because they're both going to be doing it from the back of the grid. And they both used a Joker ballast as well to take that additional weight off their car. So they have really maximised their opportunities in that first race. And keep an eye out for both of them in the second race, guys, because they've got the weight off their Mustang. We've just seen how well they've driven in the first race. I think it's going to be from the back to the front. Any wagers on Cardiff or Victoria winning it from the back? Place your bets in the chats, guys.
Yes, please let us know. In the chat at the moment, Swervin321 has just said, "Let's go Le Sonde." Shout out from Canada. Bonjour, Canada. How are you doing over there?
I don't think that
the American continent.
Yes, a shout out to our Canadian counterparts here. Great to have you on board, guys. I guess I should be saying good morning, depending on whichever part of Canada you're in. But good first attempt there from you guys. Fingers crossed for the second race. They are also on a one-driver entry tonight, Giles, so they'll be at the back of the grid for the second race. Coventry, unfortunately, didn't join us tonight. They were supposed to be a one-driver entry, so hopefully see you at the next race, guys. But yep, so as we said, we've got Cardiff, then we've got University of York, and we've also got Aberdeen on a one-driver entry tonight. So those are the guys we're going to be seeing at the back of the grid when the grid forms up momentarily. Once that's happened, I think we'll go back through the grid and see who's on pole for this one. I mean, we know who's on pole. It's always Glasgow. They're always fastest in qualifying, but we'll see how the rest of the grid is made up. How about that?
Fantastic stuff. So, do stick around. Don't go and put your cup of tea on. You'll miss the start. We're going to go live racing from a virtual Goodwood very shortly for the second race of round 5 of the IMECI Formula Student Sim Racing Series. Cardiff claimed victory from Glasgow in race 1. Cardiff now starting from the back of the grid in race 2. Can Aaron Farmer make it up? He's playing his Joker. Victoria towards the back of the grid as well then. They came in third, did very well. So let's go through the grid, James.
So here we go, guys. So we're on the 4-minute countdown now, guys, before the lights go on. So on the front row here, we have Glasgow, Southampton, UWTST. Fair play, guys, for getting that third on the grid. Row 2, we have... absolutely. Now, row 2, we have Portsmouth Alumni in 4th. Nicely done, guys. By far their best qualifying position of the season. And Hull joining them there in 5th. Row 3, we have Salford, we have Strathclyde, and we have Napier. Then, behind them, we have Wolverhampton, it looks like, and Bolton in 10th position in the little Toyota. That should be interesting to see. Oh, we've just missed someone. Someone's dropped out. Wolverhampton have dropped out, so they'll come back in a second, I suspect. So ignore the timing here. It's all going to be +1. So Cambridge are in 11th. Then we have Stavanger in 12th. Oh, welcome back, Wolverhampton. Just getting a bit worried there. UCL, they're in 13th. Oxford, 14th in the glorious little Mini. Kingston in 15th. Ilmanyu in 16th. Staffordshire in 17th. York in 18th. Here we are into the OneDrive entries now. So we have York in 18th. Aberdeen in 19th. Sheffield Hallam 20th. Victoria 21st. La Sonde 22nd. Cardiff 23rd, and rounding out the back of the grid is Uwe in 24th. The way the one driver penalties work, guys, so to decide who was going to be at the rear, whoever was highest in the championship would start furthest at the back. So Uwe are highest place of all the one driver entries in the championship just now, so they can do it all from the back. And there's our Mark II Jaguar. Inspector Morse getting ready to inspect at the chicane after this first lap is done.
There was an Inspector Morse pun in there somewhere, and it took us this long to get there, but it's been coming.
Oh no,
it's the TV car at the back.
I've been slyly putting them in round one as well, Giles. Don't worry, I like sly jokes.
I've got my collection of Colin Dexter books along the shelf here.
Oh, lovely. Now we're talking. Now, how are we doing?
Talking of things.
Oh yes, go on.
We've really got a hot race here, because I actually reckon University of Welsh Trinity St David could be in with a shout off the line. They're in third at the moment, and we saw how well they were driving earlier on in race 1. They've qualified better for race 2, so as a result, I think we could be seeing some really intense action off the line between Southampton, Glasgow, and Trinity St David.
I would say out of everyone at the front, they've got the least to lose. They're the lowest in the championship, so I can see them going for broke. Southampton, they want to keep up their consistency. Glasgow, they want to just get another top 3 to extend their championship lead. Bolton, down in 9th there, they really need to get something in the second race, otherwise they're going to start falling away, and it's going to become a two-way battle at the top of the standings when we leave this round.
Indeed. I will also say I never quite time it with the lights going out, because there's always a bit of a delay between what I'm seeing and what I'm talking in the microphone and then what you're seeing on the stream, so it's never quite as tight as I'd like it to be, but one day we'll get it close. I'm going to go lights out very, very soon. Here at Goodwood, it's race 2, round 5 of the IMEC Formula Student Sim Racing Series, 25 minutes of racing. I'm Giles Cosgrove, he's James Montgomery, and we're bringing you live coverage of what is looking to be a very exciting second race this evening.
Here we go, Giles.
Here we go. The lights are on then. 6 lights at Goodwood. Glasgow on pole. The lights are out. Southampton get a fantastic start off the line, out-dragging Glasgow and Trinity St David. Trinity St David up into second. Carnage at the backers again. Southampton well away. Trinity St David, as expected, off the line very well as well. Glasgow getting swamped yet again. The rear, everyone all over the place. Uwe in 21st then.
I've given up trying to look at that crash. The timing beam won't allow me because it's contact at the front. Southampton nerfed off.
Southampton off as they punted by Wales Trinity St David. Glasgow taking full advantage of that. Hull up into second. And Salford in third. Trinity St David clawing their way back into third.
And Bolton spinning off at the back as well, Giles. Bolton spinning off at the back there, we just saw.
No.
Yep, that's them down into... Where have they gone now? They've completely gone off the timing board.
They've gone into last.
They're down in last.
Bolton down into last. The Sonde in 22nd. Gutting for the two Toyota 2000 GTs then.
Oh dear.
Absolute carnage off the line. Glasgow qualified in pole, got swamped off the start by Hull and Southampton. Southampton got into first, then got punted by Wales Trinity St David, and all of a sudden Glasgow are back into pole, and out of nowhere Hull are in second. Trinity St David, they've managed to get back into third, and Southampton are looking at their rear, and they might have something to say about it, because it was an unforced, it was a forced error that put them down into fourth in the first place, and the car that caused it is right in front of them. On board with Salford then, as they go down the start-finish straight. Cardiff up into fifth after one lap.
Amazing start. Incredible start from Cardiff.
Unbelievable from Aaron Farmer. He started way down the back of the grid, charged through the carnage, and he's up into the top 10. He's in 5th place.
23rd to 5th.
There's only been 2 minutes to go.
23rd to 5th in one lap. That is an incredible start by Farmer. That's probably going to be candidate for win of the year so far in the sim racing series. I've not seen a start like that in any other race so far.
That is outstanding. Aaron Farmer, clearly a master of these American-style touring cars. Getting a bit squirrely through there. You're on board with Yui, who are down in 14th. They've done pretty well getting back off from where they were. They were down in last place entirely at the start of the race, and they've got up into 14th. So the back runners making a real charge towards the front. And following the front-headed carnage that we saw at Lights Out, it's little wonder that these back runners have been making up so many places. On board with York then, in the white Mustang, as they've got UCL. Oh! Toe punted by UCL off the rear then. York managing to hold on to it as UCL lose out as a result of that.
There
and
we go.
Through go Aberdeen. Oh my gosh, that is UCL well away there, well off, as Yui kind of just bulldozed their way through the grass and the UCL car.
And Southampton are off again.
Southampton, that looked to me like that might have been a forced error. Sideways across the track in that part of the track doesn't make sense to me to be an unforced error. Through the chicane they go. Southampton will be determined to make up for what has been a calamitous start for them, having started in second on the grid for this second race at Goodwood. It's vintage touring cars. In first, it's Glasgow. In second, Hull. Trinity St David are in third. And up into fourth, unbelievably, from 23rd, it's Cardiff Racing. Salford are in fifth. In sixth, it's FSTN. And UWR are in seventh. And USM are in eighth. You're on board with Southampton right now. Strathclyde in eighth. I'm out of breath.
Yep, so am I. I think I need my inhaler after that. That I was not expecting that for a first 2 laps, Giles. That was something else. I cannot believe it. Cardiff from up to fourth, from 23rd on the grid. York, respectively, as well. They've gone up 10 places, being in 13th. Aberdeen as well. They were one of the one-drive entries, as were Sheffield Hallam. So all that carnage on the first lap, those who had to start at the back of the grid really did keep their nose clean. And they're already reaping the rewards from it, and the top 10 finishes on the cards for them all now.
You can see the field stretching out a bit, as if you look on the left hand, you can see the timing board there. The vast majority of the cars, the Mustangs, have got well ahead of the rest of the pack. As you can see right now, we're on board with Le Sonde, who are fighting Staffordshire for 17th. It's MG versus Toyota then. Staffordshire in the MG, Le Sonde in the Toyota. We know we've got people from Canada watching and cheering on Le Sonde as they pile towards the rear of the MG for Staffordshire. Can Staffordshire hold off the Canadians as they go through this tight right-hander? The bonnet changing colour on the MG yet again. No idea why that's happening, but who cares, because they're this close. Who's going to make a move? They go through the chicane and it's a little bit wiry, and it looks to me like Le Sonde may have just made contact with the chicane wall. They're side by side down the start-finish straight. Le Sonde have got their nose in front. Have they got enough to make them? Have they got to make it stick? They go down towards the right-hander. The MG of Staffordshire is in the better position, but no.
Oh no,
Le Sonde have got it.
They're
off on the grass.
They're both off. They're both off. Oh dear!
No, and they're sideways, and they almost take out Staffordshire in the process. Good gracious me! Cambridge having to look. Was that Cambridge? Who was that in the mini?
That was
Kingston, wasn't it?
That was Kingston. Yes, that was Kingston. I believe. Oh no, it wasn't.
Kingston having to jump out of the way as the Sonde. Was it? Who was it in the mini? One of the mini just having to jump out of the way as the Sonde was sideways across the track.
Must have been Kingston then.
Really
Beg your pardon. Sorry, I was so busy looking at the timings there. I didn't look at. Oh dear, there's another one off there. Who's that?
Oh, that is TUI. And Ion have also gone.
That's Stavanger, yep, so that's them gone. That's Cambridge in 19th. Giles, I can't keep up with this. We're only 7 minutes in and there's just so much action going on. I just physically cannot keep up with where the action is at the moment. In all of this as well, Sorry, I was just going to say, all of this as well, I've realised we've not actually given a shout out to Victoria, who also starts out at the back of the grid. They're right in there in 12th position as well, and also have a chance for that top 10 finish as well. So I think every single person who had to start at the back of the grid, that was probably the best thing to do, actually, because they kept their nose clean.
They really did. Going wide are all the cars back here, looking really squirrely through that right-hander. I should point out Cardiff are up into third. There's a gap of about 3 seconds between them and Hull in second, so they've got 18 minutes to close that and hunt down Hull in second. Bear in mind, Hull are 3 seconds themselves off UGR, so that's about, what, 5-6 seconds for Cardiff to close in on Glasgow and take the win. We know they'll be going for it. Meanwhile, you're on board with Cambridge. And meanwhile, there's Tau trying to get past Victoria. Victoria, in fact, have got past Tau and got up into an 11. Brilliant stuff there.
Yep, Victoria want those extra points, so they're very, very hungry, but I don't think this is the end of Aberdeen's move yet. We've seen some very handy racecraft from them in the last few races, so let's see how much progress these both can make as the timer counts down.
That got very squirrely through there. Just as we went off from Aberdeen, they got rather wide and into the grass. Meanwhile, you're on board with University of USM. I need to remember what USM is.
Strathclyde.
It's not Southampton. Strathclyde.
It's the other blue one. Yeah, we've got Strathclyde there. Sorry, there's so many blue Mustangs tonight, Giles. I do apologise about this, but
it's fine.
Wasn't many livery choices back in the 60s, you see.
No, clearly not. But what I will say is that this weekend we actually do have the real life members meet for Goodwood this weekend with vintage touring cars. So you're seeing a lot of this in real life over at the actual Goodwood circuit. But I don't think you'll be seeing racing as aggressive as this, because these cars in reality are rather expensive. So they're not going to be as ballsy with the action. Whereas here, it's all pixels, it's all zeros and ones. No damage is really done. So they can afford to be a little more aggressive. As we're seeing, the racing has been absolutely outstanding. We've got 16 minutes to go. It's race 2, round 5 of the IMECI Formula Student Sim Racing Series, live from a virtual Goodwood, classic touring cars. And Southampton have gone through to take 6th on their recovery drive. They've gone past US. In fact, USM have got through as well. That is unbelievable stuff.
We've got to cut away to second position, Giles, because as we come onto the start line, Mr. Farmer is right behind. He's flashing his lights, he's harassing, he wants that second position, and I think it's going to get very, very tasty.
And the issue that Hull have got is that they're being held up by Bolton in the Toyota, and they've got Cardiff right in their rear view mirror. Hull trying to get past. They've been battling in race 1. It's Bolton and Hull. Hull have got through.
No.
Cardiff have got through as well. Cardiff punted in by Bolton from the side. Cardiff managed to hold on there. Bolton swinging well away there. We're staying with the battle for second place as Aaron Farmer closes in on the Hull driver. There's not a lot separating these two drivers. 0.4 of a second. Through the left-hander they go. The car's rolling, wallowing, as Monty would describe it.
Southampton off again. There they are, down in 9th position. Wolverhampton all sideways behind them. Calm down, guys. I can't keep up with this. This is fantastic. Oh, there we go.
With Southampton. No!
Nice save, Victoria. My goodness. Right, so that was Wolverhampton sticking their nose into a place which it didn't deserve to be. Nice recovery from Victoria there. I think we're just going to follow behind them because they know how to drift this car.
They do indeed. You can see in the back of their screen, you can see in their rearview mirror at the top of your screen, that's Wolverhampton in the back. Ahead of them is Southampton. These cars bunching up. The battle for ninth is hotting up. We're live from Goodwood, although I feel like Phil and Holly presenting Dancing on Ice the way the cars are sliding about at the moment.
They're sliding, they're dancing. There goes Wolverhampton in the background.
Look at this! This is on board with Victoria, who have just managed to master the art of drifting in this Mustang, and they just slide it through the corners sideways and then just get it right back onto the straights. Absolutely brilliant driving from Victoria as they close in on Southampton in ninth. Southampton were up a bit higher, but yet again lost it. Struggling a bit are the Southampton team. On board then with Sheffield Hallam, who have just got up into 7th,
yep,
having overtaken FSDN.
Yep, another error from Napier there, so I think they've cooked their tyres now because they're beginning to lose positions. Having said that, they've just re-overtaken Sheffield on the straight there, so there's nothing wrong with their straight line speed.
Not at all. On board with Napier, who have gone into 7th, having overtaken Sheffield Hallam then. That's a battle for 7th between Sheffield Hallam and Napier. Southampton closing in on that battle. These cars are going to begin to bunch up in a minute, and it's going to get rather hairy. There it is. It's all getting. They're bunching up. It is getting hairy.
And
Southampton a little bit tail happy through there.
And
Victoria just having the time of their lives, wheeling through. Sideways, tyre smoke everywhere. You just want to be careful not to cook their tyres. In the rear there.
Was that Wolverhampton?
To me like Wolverhampton going sideways. Onto the grass go Wolverhampton. Through go Tau. Up into fourth go Salford, having overtaken Wales Trinity St David.
Something's happened to them. They're off at the last corner. What's happening? Interesting.
Like a pit stop?
They've done something.
That seemed like a very odd place to go off.
Indeed, something. I suspect maybe something's happened with their controller. They've had to pull off the track, quickly do whatever they needed to do and get going again. But whatever's happened, they're back going. They're back up to full speed again, albeit going straight off the track.
System reset. Victoria.
No, there we go.
Absolutely marvellous. Victoria showing you how to drift, and
and UWTSD showing how to do it. So I tell you what, Honorary Colin McRae reward has to go to Victoria after this. This has been spectacular to watch so far in this race, guys.
Look at this. The masterful way they're driving that through the corner, just shoving it straight through. There's no drop in speed around the corners with this Mustang. Half the time, it's perpendicular to the road, and yet they're still holding it. Victoria up into 8th, having started way down the grid. Another car that started way down the grid is Cardiff, who are in 3rd and are hunting down Hull in 2nd. A gap of approximately 0.3 of a second between those. Victoria in 7th as they go past Napier. It's all happening all over the place. I do apologise. I'm sending you all over the timing board, James. But could we go and have a look at what's going on with Hull and Cardiff? Because the gap does seem to be dropping just a bit.
Absolutely. Here we are, side by side. Here's the move, guys.
Side by side they go. Cardiff going down the inside of Hull for 2nd place. The Mini keeping well out the way of the action as Cardiff managed to kind of bulldoze their way into 2nd place. Hull have got no reply for the absolute demonic drive from Cardiff, who have gone from 23rd to 2nd in the space of 15 minutes.
I tell you what, I see now why they wanted their Joker for this round. They have fully utilised having that 50 kilos of ballast off their car tonight, and wow, just wow! Win the first race. Last to 2nd in this one. This has been fantastic. And is that Hull dropping it?
That is Hull. That's Hull winning it, getting a bit squirrely. They've just managed to hold on to it as they still stick in the rear-view mirror of Cardiff. You're on board with Salford in the Burgundy Mustang right now. Car number 22. 23 seconds off of Glasgow. And that is what I was about to say. We're getting very excited that Cardiff have got up into 2nd. I don't think they've got a chance of closing that 8 seconds up to Glasgow unless Glasgow make a mistake. And we've seen that those mistakes are very few and far between. Their first mistake of the entire series so far was at the last race where they ran out of fuel. We've been talking about it earlier, but Glasgow have had a very pleasant start by their own standards. They qualified in 1st. There was a bit of hoo-ha, but they managed to hold on to pole, and they are now about 8 or 9 seconds ahead of the 2nd place car. Salford then, they're looking to be on the approach towards... No, hang on. That looks to me like USM closing in. Or is that traffic at the back?
I'm trying to work out who that is, Ryan. But I believe that is Stavanger. Yeah, that's Stavanger. So this is them coming through the lap traffic now. Most of the cars... Oh, there he goes off again. Never mind. But, and it's a go! Oh! Fantastic! Oh! Nice contact there. Lovely, guys. Lovely. Yes, no, most of the cars seem to be about 2 or 3 seconds apart now. So, there we go again. Come on, guys, off the track. Please, please, don't ruin other people's races as well. Oh, goodness gracious me. And that was Victoria actually somehow surviving that contact, so nicely done.
Victoria, it did look to me like Victoria just sideswiped whatever car was blocking their path, like a foot kicking a ball. That is Victoria closing in on Napier then. Can they get past? They're on the grass a bit, looking a bit spirally, piling the pressure onto Napier. There's not a lot separating these two cars now, as this is the battle for 8th position in race 2. 8.5 minutes or so to go. Car number 77 from Victoria. We've loved the driving style from Victoria as they refuse to lose power through the corners and just slide it through. very Tokyo Drift in their approach to this, and it could be the way to do it. It could be the way to do it, because remember, the Mustangs have got the power, but they haven't got the handling. By sliding it through, you don't have to take your foot off the power as much in the Mustang. But having said that, the little bit... trying to get the inside line. Trying to get the inside line. Tyres squealing there. Smoke go through. Napier gone off. Vittoria up into 8th. That is 8th. Up into 8th they are. Approaching them. Tau, they've got to get past... they've got Aberdeen trying to ahead of them. They've got to get past the MG of Staffordshire first. That's an easy pass for them. Staffordshire getting out of the way. Nice manners. Very good driving etiquette from them. Sliding it through. Nice and entertaining. Staffordshire off into the grass. Napier behind them. On board with Vittoria.
Francisco Chavez, he was racing last season in the finals at Silverstone. He was spectacular to watch then. He is yet again spectacular to watch now. Muy bien, senor, muy bien. This is beautiful.
Sheffield Hallam up into the top 10. They've got 10th position, but we're on board with what has to be almost the bolero of driving. Forget Torval and Dean. This is how you slide about. Look at this. Brilliant from Vittoria as they approach them. Who they got to get past? Their next one is Aberdeen. You're on board at the moment with Sheffield Hallam, who are trying their own bit of sliding about as they approach University of Wales Trinity St David. I predicted they'd have a good race. Trinity St David starting in 3rd. They're down in 10th.
Yeah, something happened on the first lap there. I'm wondering if they got involved in the contact. I'm a bit gutted I missed whatever happened, which caused Southampton to go flying off and Bolton as well, because there was just so much going on.
In the opening lap, I think we did see it from my memory, and please do correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I was under the impression that University of Wales Trinity St David slapped the back of Southampton, sending Southampton off the way and not doing themselves any favours either.
I'm going to refrain from comments because I'm probably going to have to read the protests afterwards, so I don't want any of the drivers quoting anything which comes out of my mouth during the stream drives.
Good idea. I can say what I like. I'm just me. I'm a loose cannon. Sheffield Hallam in the rearview mirror of Wales Trinity St David then, as they pass Staffordshire, I should say, in the MG. That's Sheffield Hallam knocking on the door of the Welsh team in 10th. Trying to find a way around. They look to the inside, looking to the outside. Lights on. Wales cannot ignore Sheffield are right on their doorstep.
They're trying to find a way through.
With Sheffield, they've got to find a way through if they want to get up into the top 10. Do Sheffield Hallam, but the gap seems to have opened up. Wales Trinity St David pulling away in the baby sick Mustang. I don't know what you'd else call that. Beige?
60s white? I don't know.
Cream, I think that might be.
Country cream. There we go. We'll go with that.
Meanwhile, that's
Manu down in 17th there. Having a quiet weekend for them. Normally, they normally linger around the top 10, so not a good race by their standards. I get the feeling this could be their drop score for tonight. However, if we think they're having a bad race, Bolton.
Yes.
Championship protagonists.
Tragic for Bolton, who were, in fairness, fantastic in the first race, but they've had a real disaster here. We'll have to find out what happened to them, because I don't know. If you do know, let us know in the comments on the live stream. But Bolton are in 21st.
Absolutely.
Not good.
Nope, they had a fantastic qualifying session for this race, and it looked like they got shafted twice. I'll be intrigued to see what the post-race conversations are about this. This is actually a new driver for Bolton tonight. This is Jack Whittle-Darroch, driver E. So, what a rude awakening you've had to the series, my friend. Welcome to Formula Student Sim Racing series, but we could see the pace was there, definitely in qualifying. Yeah. What a shame. What a shame. This doesn't justify the pace that he's shown in the practice and the qualifying sessions, actually. So I guess a bit like Glasgow in the first race, that undoubted pace, but got involved in all the crashes. They've now got their first taste of what the series is like, and I think we're going to see a much wiser Jack in round 6 turning up and knowing how to approach other cars, shall we say.
It is a little gutting to see that the field hasn't quite mixed itself up as much as it did in race 1. The Mustangs have drawn ahead of all the various different other cars that are in the field. The Toyotas the Minis and the MG, lagging behind compared to the vast majority of the teams. From 1 to 13, it's all Mustang. You're on board with that last Mustang of that big pack. It's York in 13th position behind them. Meanwhile, you're on board with Oxford University in one of the Minis. I absolutely love the livery on this Mini. I do love the Hesketh livery. It's just gorgeous. And at Oxford University have done a really great job here. Up into 15th in a Mini, which is so severely underpowered compared to the Mustangs. But I imagine a heck of a lot more fun to drive. I've always wanted to drive a classic Mini. I never have, but I intend to do so at some point. If anyone's got one, in fact, is giving me the keys for a bit, do let me know.
Just noting the Sons have got a DNF, so they dropped out at some point during the race. That's a real shame to see. Our Canadian counterparts there. But
they were doing really well.
They were. They were looking like they may have got another top 10 finish out of that. So we'll probably find out later what's happened there. I'm getting a notice that UCO have had contact. There's the contact there, and there's TUI coming back onto the track as well. So even though they're a lap behind, there's still some argy-bargy happening further down the field, Giles.
Cardiff Racing have just posted the fastest lap, 1:29. They're 5.5 seconds away from UGR with 2 minutes to go of racing. They've closed that gap down by 4 seconds, but I don't think the 1 minute 50 or so that we've got to go is going to be enough for Cardiff to get up into first place and battle it out with Glasgow, but I would pay good money to see it. We're on board at the moment with Salford. Looking a bit smooth. Who's that going off towards the wall?
So we were actually watching UCL there, and that was Salford and Southampton going by, and in the mix of all of that, Southampton managed to sneak past Salford as they were lapping UCL there, so very wise move from Southampton there. That's them back up to 4th position, albeit still half a minute behind the leaders.
A fantastic recovery drive then from Southampton, who were actually leading for some of the opening lap. I believe there was contact between them and University of Welsh Trinity St David. Naturally, Monty is abstaining from that, and tragedy for Bolton, they're off in the grass. This has not been the race Bolton would have wanted. Bear in mind, they are one of our contenders for the winners of this series overall, and they are languishing down in 21st in that Toyota 2000 GT.
I think this race is going to be even more painful for them, because we said last time out they didn't have the best of races at round 4, and we said that was going to be their drop round. So if that was their drop round, yeah, this one's going to hurt even more than in this case. So
locking up then our Oxford University.
Yeah, absolutely. Apologies, Giles. I'll hush up. I'm rambling away to myself once again.
No, you're not a problem. Do apologise for interrupting, but I'm quite interested to see what's going to happen here, because Bolton are in 21st. Oxford are up in 15th. So what are we about to see? What I think we're about to see, a Mini lapping something.
You are, whilst also battling a Mustang. Cambridge there for position of 15th. Back up the inside. Nicely done.
Fantastic stuff then from Oxford University, who are having a stonking race in a Mini in 15th, trying to get past Bolton, who are one of the back markers as they're hunted down by Cambridge. It's Oxford versus Cambridge then. Of course it is. Who cares about boats when you've got Minis and Mustangs? On board there is your race leaders, Glasgow, who are 5.5 seconds ahead of Cardiff. We're counting down then towards the checkered flag. There's a few corners left to go. Glasgow finally have made it stick. They qualified in first. They are going to cross the line in first unless some catastrophic event occurs. Some act of God. But I don't see it happening. Do you, Monty?
Unless they're going to run out of fuel in this very final corner, which is what happened last time out. Did they make it out the corner? They have.
Yes, they do.
Nope, this is Glasgow.
The chicane. Here we go. Glasgow then crossing the line to take the race win. Race 2, round 5. The IMECI Formula Student Sim Racing Series. Lights flashing away there for Aaron Farmer, who got from 23rd to 2nd for Cardiff. Hull in 4th. It is Southampton, who've had a fantastic recovery drive, 30 seconds off the leaders, but they're not going to be too fussed given where they were at the beginning of the race. Following all that drama and contact through the final chicane, they go towards the start-finish line. In 5th, it is Salford then. You can see them now in the, what would you call that, Burgundy? There you go, in the Burgundy Mustang. USM crossing the line in 6th.
Aberdeen in 7th.
That is Aberdeen in 7th. Victoria crossing the line. Love what we've seen from Victoria. Sliding across the line Would you expect anything less? University of Welsh Trinity St David have had an unfortunate race, given they started on the front row. Napier then crossing the line in 11th. In 12th, it's going to be University of Wolverhampton.
No, it's not. No, it's not. If they do that, oh dear, is that going to let York into 12th? No, because York have fallen off the track as well, right? It's a drag line to the...
Off. York had a prime opportunity. They didn't take it. Through the chicane they go. Could this be a race for the line? Wolverhampton look to me like they've just got the track position to be able to hold off Wolverhampton and take the win. This is going to be close. Wolverhampton holding off York. Yes. York in 13th. Uwe, with less drama, in 14th, crossing the line there. Oxford University, we've loved seeing these guys. They crossed the line, or looking to cross the line, in 15th. What happened to Cambridge then? Because Cambridge were trying to get through at one point.
I believe they were a lap down, Giles, so they're just doing glory runs now and getting their bang for their buck now. So, yeah, everyone from Oxford downwards were a lap behind. So that's Oxford in 15th, Cambridge 16th, Ilamanyu in 17th, UCL in 18th, Staffordshire 19th, Stavanger in 20th, Bolton, oh dear, Bolton in 21st, Kingston in 22nd, and in 23rd is La Sonde, our Canadian counterparts. I'm not sure if they'll be classified if they've done enough laps or not, but... Whew, I'm out of breath after that, Giles.
You and me both. Let's look at the reaction in the comments. And Vittoria Chavez, the crazy man, according to Christian Lalande. They took 10 positions in one lap. Brilliant stuff from Vittoria. Could possibly be one of our drivers of not just this race, but the season. The way they were just sliding through that. Fantastic stuff. Meanwhile, Ibrahim Khan says, let Jack cook. Could someone tell me what that means? Because I have got no idea. Swervin321, who is supporting the Canadians, said, I call commentator curse. You're probably right. I don't think we help some of the drivers when we start talking about them because it all goes wrong. Jory Smith says, next season should be running Wreckfest, should make all the carnage even more fun. Interesting one there. Mastermind McSee confirming then the Oxford Mini crossing the line in 15th in the Hesketh livery. Lovely to see that. Talking of liveries, Blazed Colour says the colour that we were talking about earlier, I may have referred to it as baby stick at one point, but Blazed Colour reminds us the colour is Old English white. Perfectly named. Yes, indeed. Meanwhile, Andrew Japes says Jack the Goat. Ibrahim Khan, Jack Domination. I believe Jack might be behind the wheel of the Glasgow car there. Albert Hare says, once again, good racing. We have to agree. We're out of breath. It's all been very exciting, as ever. The drama and the action just keeps hotting up and up and up from each round. Round one, by comparison, was a Sunday roast compared to this, which has been something far more exciting. Have you recovered, Monty?
I've just about recovered from that one, but I tell you what I'm going to do now. Let's go for a 5-minute break. Let's go and grab our winners from round 1 and 2, and shall we go and have a chat with them?
Brilliant.
Fantastic. Right, guys, go and grab your cup of tea, go and grab your glasses of water. We'll be back very, very shortly. We'll be having a chat with our winners from race 1 and from race 2. See you shortly.
Welcome back to live coverage of the iMechie Formula Student Sim Racing Series. We've just had round 5 live from a virtual Goodwood in classic vintage touring cars. I'm Giles Cosgrove. He's James Montgomery. And we're going to bring you post-race action as we interview the winners of the 2 races. So let's talk to the winner of race 1. He came in second place in race 2. He is Aaron Farmer for Cardiff Racing. Aaron, sir, congratulations. Yeah, it was a very, very good race. I'm just going to come out and say it because otherwise it's going to be the elephant in the room. I'm a member of Cardiff Racing, and I know Aaron personally, and we've behind the scenes been cheering him on for the entire series. So it's taken 5 rounds to get to this point. You must be over the moon.
Yeah, I think it's escaped me a few times, but finally got that win. I think got quite lucky with the Joe Grid allocation. I think Glasgow were very quick this round, but I mean, yeah,
they
worked out.
So you had a really great start off the line in race 1. We'll talk about race 2 in a second because you came second from way back on the grid. So I would love to talk about that as well. But talking about race 1, that start, there was a fair bit of drama before you managed to get into first. Talk us through that.
Yeah, I think I was probably a bit too cautious. I think I was braking a little bit early. I think I got hit in the rear, like turn 4 or 5 or something. Had to make my way from, I think, third. But yeah, I think it was good. From my side, I just kind of tried to stay out of trouble. I think managed to do it. So yeah.
And what was your approach then? Because a lot of teams were struggling with the raw power of the Mustang. And I remember you talking to me pre-race saying that they were very oversteer heavy. So what was your approach to this? I appreciate you probably had a bit of an advantage maybe in the fact that you were running with the Joker, so the car was lighter. But how did you handle it all?
Yeah, I think I was trying to go for like slow entry, fast exit. I was trying to kind of not be on the limit of the car because as you see like the other cars throughout the corners, they're leaning to one side. It's a lot of roll. So I was trying to minimize the roll by trying to keep a flat car as possible, and it seemed to work because the exits of the corner were quite strong.
And that approach clearly worked for both races because not only did you win in race 1, but because you were starting, you were the only driver racing this weekend for Cardiff Racing, you had to start from the back of the grid for the second race, and yet you managed to finish in second, which is an outstanding drive. Really great stuff. So talk us through going through the grid, because that is fair to say maybe even more exciting than race 1 was for you, in the sense you were starting back in 22nd, 23rd, and you ended the race in second. So how did you manage to worm your way through what was quite a carnage-heavy opening couple of laps?
I think I just got really lucky, to be honest. I tried to off the line. I think I saw 3 cars ahead of me got quite poor starts. I think a lot of them were probably caused by the minis. I think they weren't great off the line. So I kind of went to the middle of the track, and I think people around me were just flying off the track. I think it was quite lucky. I think I made a good move in the middle part of the lap, I think, to get assistance, but generally I just to avoid all the accidents. And yeah, I think Glasgow, 28 was just way too quick in that final race. So he didn't even have a Joker, so yeah, fair play to him.
We're about to catch up with him. You've been Aaron Farmer, though, and Aaron, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Congratulations on the first and second. Well done.
Thank you.
So that was Aaron, who took first in race 1, but as he was saying, Glasgow were absolutely dominant without a Joker in race 2. We've already spoken to him previously. We're going to catch up with him again. Jack, another race win for you, sir. How are you feeling?
I feel very good. Yeah, I was not expecting that going in. So
we might want to turn the music down a little bit there, Monty. But you weren't expecting the win, but you qualified in first. So how come the win wasn't expected?
I do not like these cars. They're I think I heard one of you say the word wallaby, and that's absolutely what these cars are. I do not like driving them, but and there were definitely some quick guys around me. I mean, you would have seen off the start I got a terrible launch, and I think I was P3, and then the 2 ahead of me just ran wide, so I snuck through and got very lucky that Cardiff were at the back of the grid, because bloody hell, when the guys at my ear would tell me they were P5, I couldn't believe it. So no, definitely shout out to him across 2 races for being so fast. That was a mega job from him.
It was some really great driving from yourself as well, though. Bear in mind that you managed to avoid the first lap drama in the second race, because correct me if I'm wrong, because we were talking about this during the race and we couldn't quite fathom what had happened because there was so much drama. you were there, so maybe you can tell us better. From where we were standing, at least where I was sitting, it looked to me like you got swamped off the line, and then there was contact between Southampton and Wales Trinity St David, and you were able to avoid that. Was that pretty much what happened there?
Yeah, I just really bogged down off the line. So, like you said, the two ahead of me got in front, which meant going to that fast right-hander, I could get a better line. And so they both had to run wide. I'm not sure if St Trinity David sort of ran Southampton out of road, but making accusations. But I just know I was able to get through because I could take a better line, and didn't look back.
The pace that you had through both races was outstanding. Bear in mind that you weren't running with the Joker, whereas Cardiff, you've given your compliments to Cardiff and their driver Aaron, but bear in mind Cardiff was running with a Joker, you weren't. So how were you able to keep such pace? And what was your approach to driving cars that you've admitted yourself just there you really don't like?
I guess a lot of practice. We were trying a lot to just build my pace up. I mean, the guy in race 1, Nev, he's a natural with these cars and was much faster. And I had help from a guy called Master Bayman, who definitely taught me a few things, just learning the track. But yeah, I guess once you're out in front, it's a lot easier. You don't have to try and race people, so I could just get in the groove.
It's great watching you drive. We didn't actually get to see a lot of you during the race, to be honest, because you were so dominant and so far out in front that we were busy watching some of the drama further down the pack. But congratulations on yet another win. Glasgow are topping the Championship leaderboard going into this race and coming out of it first and a second. I wouldn't be in any doubts that you'll be currently leading again thereafter. How are you feeling going into the last couple of rounds? You're heading towards the grand final. That'll be held at Williams HQ. They've kindly set that we can use their e-racing area, so you'll be going to Williams HQ for the final. How are you feeling? What's the strategy approaching these last few rounds in order to maintain that position in the championship?
Yeah, I'm loving it. It really is a great fun, and I'm glad that we do it. I mean, even when we've come off of bad weekends, we can still say we've enjoyed the racing. And the fact we're going to Williams is pretty cool. I mean, I'm excited to try like an actual rig. I mean, right now I've just got this clamped to my desk. So, as for a strategy, we just go into it, try and get as fast as we can, and we're lucky we've got a good variety of drivers. We're all pretty quick. So yeah, just go as fast as we can. That'll be it.
Absolutely fantastic. Go as fast as you can. Speed and power solve many things, as a less than wise man once said. I want to ask you something though now that might be a bit beyond just the usual stuff that we talk about for the sim racing, but Glasgow won the whole event last year. This is your first year in the sim racing. You're on track at the moment. You're in the top position, so you could well go into it. There is the clear potential there to win this sim racing series this year. How are the team in real life getting on? Because I believe Glasgow will be entering their first electric car this year. And we recall last year there was difficulty getting through scrutineering for a lot of the electric cars. You want to retain the crown. You're doing so great in the sim racing. How are you getting on with the real car?
Well, as for the electronics, I mean, that's definitely one of the biggest components of it. And I'm in the vehicle dynamics team. I'm responsible for the suspension geometry. So I have to say, I really cannot tell you a lot. I don't know much about it, but I know.
I couldn't either. I'm on vehicle dynamics myself for Cardiff.
Yes, well, you'll understand. But we have some very talented electrical engineers and people who aren't doing electrical engineering taking up electrical roles, and they are very talented and much better engineers than me. So I've strong hopes for the team to get the electric car running. And I guess we'll just have to find out at comp how well it goes.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys on track at Silverstone later in July. Look forward to seeing you, I imagine, probably at Williams HQ for the grand final of the Sim Racing Series. That's 2 wins back-to-back for yourself, Jack. Congratulations. Looking forward to seeing what the rest of the series has in store for you. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks very much.
No worries at all. That was Jack there, who took the second win for round 5 of the IMECE Formula Student Sim Racing Series. Cracking job from him. Monty, how you feeling?
Trying to get over that race, Giles. That was a heck of a lot going on there. It was That second race in particular was just absolutely balmy. I just could not keep up with it at all, but I really enjoyed it. It sounds like you enjoyed it. Our winners did, and I hope the audience enjoyed it as well.
I was over the moon with that. Some really exciting racing from start to finish, from lights out to the checkered flag. It was brilliant. And let's look at the results from today's race then, shall we?
We shall do exactly that in just a second. I tell you what, Giles, Cardiff are going to be kicking themselves. They had a one-driver entry today because they came first and second in their races. Glasgow came first and second in their races. It should have been a tie at the top, but because they've been limited to half points in that second race, it really has changed how the overall results for tonight look. So let's hit the page so we can all look at this together. Obviously, Glasgow take top honours there, scoring 97 out of 100 points, a couple of bonus points for their fastest laps and pole positions, or rather the qualifying pole positions. University of Hull taking runner-up spots there, 81 points, and University of Southampton, even after all of their calamities, somehow have still managed to hold on to third position. Look at that though, Cardiff, they should have been joint winners in that one, Giles, but the half-point penalty in the second race, that means they're, inverted commas, only fourth position, which sounds harsh because this, I think, is actually their best result so far in the year. But
yes, it is.
Phenomenal pace from Aaron tonight, I have to say. He really, for me, arguably him and Vittoria have been my drivers of the night because they've been entertaining, they've been spectacular to watch. Salford, welcome back, guys. Nicely done there with fifth position. University Wales, Trinity St David, joint sixth with Strathclyde. Victoria there in eighth, nicely done. Again, limited points being on a one-driver entry penalty. Wolverhampton in ninth. Bolton, we thought last time out was going to be a round for them to forget and use that as their drop score. It looks like this is going to have to be their drop score now, Giles. It'll be interesting to see if they can bring it back for the final few rounds of the series, because I think they're going to have fallen off in the standings. We'll see in just a second. I'm waiting for those last standings to get counted up. Cambridge, welcome back as well, guys. Just missing out on the top 10 there, so in 11th position for them. Napier in 12th, Aberdeen 13th, Ilomanu 14th, Sheffield Hallam 15th, Stavanger in 16th, Staffordshire 17th, Oxford 18th, UCL 19th, and Kingston rounding out the top 20 for tonight's results. Should we see what that does for the standings, though?
Let's have a look, shall we?
Absolutely. Let's move on to the other page then. So, unsurprisingly, after yet another stonking evening from them, Glasgow extend their lead at the top now, 461 points, with Southampton there in second on 430. Bolton only on 390 points. They're now nearly a race win behind the championship leaders. They've kind of made a bit of a break at the top now, Glasgow, haven't they?
I don't know whether they're reachable. I was saying it earlier to Jack in the interview. I was kind of toe tapping around it, edging it, but I'm going to come out and say this. I don't know whether Glasgow are reachable now. I know you can get 100 points per race, but they just seem so dominant and so consistent as well. And it's that combination of consistency and winning that puts you in the best position. And with 31 points between them and the second place team, but when we get to Williams, I imagine they might still be standing at the top of the leaderboard.
Absolutely. There's still 2 more rounds to go. We still have one more engineering, or actually we've got 2 engineering challenge points to also include in here as well. So it's looking like it's Glasgow's to lose at the moment, but we certainly saw last season that nothing is a guarantee until all the racing is done and that fat lady has sung her final song. But they've definitely set themselves up nicely going into the final 3 rounds for now. However, having said that, it's still all to play for in the midfield. Look at that. Hull, from Hull to Strathclyde, so from 4th to 7th, there's only 30 points between them as well. Hull in 4th, Wolverhampton 5th, Wales Trinity St David in 6th, and Strathclyde in 7th. UE, there they are in 8th. Salford back into the top 10 in the 9th position now, and Cardiff also into the top 10 now. So it's really close in the midfield, actually, isn't it? You've got a bit of a breakaway at the top, but definitely all to play for. And so long as we carry on having pile-ups and more unpredictable races like tonight, it's anyone's guess as to what the top 10 is going to look like come the end of the season, Giles.
Indeed. I think we've got to look further than just the number one who's going to win. Looking at the top 10, that's where things get exciting because it is dicey. Things are likely to switch around as we go through the remaining rounds of this series. So it's all to play for. It's anyone's game. I know that if you look, the sister teams that are University of the West of England, UE, and Cardiff University, there's only 10 points between them. Well, that could be quite interesting because those two teams have a very close relationship. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out for the rest of the series. We're looking in the rest of the top 20. In 11th, it's University of Stavanger with 231 points. In 12th, it's University of the Basque Country. Didn't hear a lot from them tonight. In 13th,
you're
TU
kidding.
Ilmenau.
Basque's Victoria.
Oh, Basque is Victoria. Oh, good
Yes.
gracious me.
we definitely saw much from them tonight.
I don't see the word Victoria. I see Basque Country. I think we're establishing, between the pair of us, our geography maybe not the best.
Yes.
TU Ilmenau in 13th. Kingston University in 14th. University College London in 15th. York University in 16th. 17th is University of Portsmouth Alumni. The University of Cambridge's A-teamer in 18th. In 19th, it's Coventry University, and the other half of Oxbridge, the University of Oxford, round out your top 20 with 20th position and 159 points. And I'm going to go and bury my head in the sand because I've just made a Murrayism. Basque Country is Victoria.
Don't worry. There's been so many different names to try and keep up with tonight, Giles, that it's all to play for. It's all to play for there. Very nice to see Cambridge back into the top 20, by the way. But as you can see, there were 46 universities signed up. Unfortunately, only 25 managed to qualify for tonight's race. So it is exam season at the moment around Easter time. A lot of coursework submission deadlines and final year project submission deadlines being the reason why a number of... yes. That was me 8 years ago. You don't have my sympathy because I had to go through it all myself. But no.
I'm going through it right now.
Oh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine, mate. Don't worry. It's all good. But yeah, no.
If anyone from Cardiff University wants to give us an extension because we're doing so well in this, then feel free.
Oh, go on. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. But no, as you can see, guys, we've got some other big university names there. Unfortunately, couldn't join us tonight. Hopefully, we'll see them back in for the next few rounds. Most certainly hope to see you all with us at Williams once we come to do the final round in July. But obviously, studying comes first, and we missed you tonight, but we look forward to seeing you again very, very soon.
Absolutely wonderful. So there you have it. Round 5 is over. And what a round it has been with classic touring cars live from the virtual tarmac of Goodwood. Cardiff claiming victory in the first race and Glasgow claiming victory in the second race. Looking forward to round 6. What are we going to see in round 6, Monty?
Oh, it's going to be fun. We've got BMW 2 Series going around Aviensto. It's a little Finnish circuit which goes through forest and trees. It's a figure of 8, lots of hills. Most people have probably never heard of this track before, but believe me, it's a cracking track to race on. And when we've got BMWs, 40 of them on the track together. You thought this was close tonight? This is going to put touring car stuff to shame.
It just hots up. The racing is fantastic. It's been cranking its way up, and we're shifting the gears as we head into round 7 next month. No, round 6 next month. So do join us for round 6 of the iMechie Formula Student Sim Racing Series. I've been Giles Cosgrove. He's been James Montgomery. And for now, it's goodbye.